Something that I know a lot of people struggle with, and I used to struggle with a ton whenever I was a little bit younger, is finding and being their true self, acting in accordance with their true self. And the way that I originally started learning to actually behave like myself and live up to who I am rather than trying to put on a front was through a method called Wu Wei. And it's from like the Taoist philosophy. And it's something I've been really into lately, but I learned about it a few years ago. And that's what got me really into becoming myself, finding my purpose, things like that. So what Wu Wei really is and what it means is effortless action or just non-action. That's the literal definition of it. And that doesn't necessarily mean being lazy. Like I know non-action, you would think, like by the connotation, you would think lazy, but that's not what it means. It's really acting in accordance with your own nature and the flow of the world. And it sounds, guru type of deal, but it's cool when you think about it and look into it, but it's really behaving with the alignment of your own nature and then you kind of just flow in the world, not trying to force things. And that's why it's so effective. It comes from harmony and not resistance. It's you harmonizing with your own nature, your own energy, the way that you should be behaving instead of trying to force something that you're not and causing resistance with your own personality and just your own being. If you think about it that way, it makes sense. Like, of course, I'm going to be behaving like my real self if I'm just letting it flow out rather than trying to force something that's not there and make it become part of me, if that makes sense. And like I said, this comes from Taoism, and Taoism teaches that we're most like ourselves whenever we're not trying to be somebody else. And that's something that I feel like so many people in the world do, especially nowadays with social media and the people you look up to, really just in general. I feel like everybody's trying to be somebody they're not, trying to force something, they're trying to be what people deem admirable and what people look up to rather than just being what they actually want to be. They're putting on this mask, this front to impress everybody else, which is stupid thinking about it. Like everybody does it, I do it to an extent. I'm sure it's hard to break completely, but whenever you can understand this, it's crazy what it'll do to your own identity and like how you actually behave, and you'll find purpose a lot better and understand who you actually are. Now, going into this video, before I get into like the main topic, I want to give you a metaphor real quick, and it comes from it's similar to confidence in a sense, because whenever you are truly yourself, you're going to be a very confident person because you understand that you're fully harmonized with who you are and you just really, really are in tune with yourself. So confidence is inevitable. But the metaphor I want to give is the archer who's trying too hard to hit the bullseye. He's sitting there just consciously I got to hit this bullseye. He's really aiming, trying too hard to hit the bullseye. He's most likely going to miss. But the one who lets go, just relaxed and centered, just another day in the field, he's going to hit it more likely to hit it. This is relative to being yourself and who you are in general, because the way I can explain it in my own personal life is with jiu-jitsu. And this just comes with more like confidence rather than being yourself, but again, they go hand in hand. So with jiu-jitsu for me, I do a lot of jiu-jitsu. I go every day of the week basically. So whenever I go there, it's flow state. It's nothing. I'm not thinking. I'm literally just doing my thing. I'm good. I'm confident. I'm doing what I do. Now, when I only done one competition, I'm doing another one in July. But the first competition I did, whenever I was there, I felt so out of place. I was nervous, anxious, the adrenaline was pumping, I was excited, all this stuff. But the thing is, that competition is the exact same thing that I do every single day. I do it every day, once a week, every single day, sometimes 2 days a week. And I go there, and even though I do it every day, I'm feeling all these emotions, all this, I'm getting all amped up, and I'm a little insecure. Even though I do this every day, I'm like, oh, how's this gonna go? Am I gonna do this right? Am I gonna do what I always do? And I'm literally going to do the things that I always do. But the illusion, other things going around me, I'm worried too much about the result rather than just letting it happen. I'm overthinking everything. And you can put that into so many different aspects of your life. You can do it with socializing. You can do it with literally anything. Think about that. That archer that we're talking about, he knows how to shoot a bow and arrow, right? He knows how to do it. He's practiced it a shit ton. He goes to do it. If he just lets go, like he's just practicing, he's going to do a lot better than ever he's sitting there over-analyzing. Oh, I got to hit that one spot. Same with the baseball pitcher. You're looking for the mitt. I did the same thing whenever I used to play baseball whenever I was a little bit younger. I'd be trying to hit that exact spot and then make it worse. Whenever I would just throw, I'd do way better. So moving forward, your true self is not something you construct through effort or ego. It's something you naturally uncover and find by peeling away the conditioning, the expectations, the social identities that you formed just over time, and just do it. Now, I'm going to give you a few examples of each of these things. So starting with social conditioning are beliefs or behaviors that you have that formed from your environment, and you kind of accepted them without questioning them at all. So you were conditioned to it just from your environment. So a few examples of this. First of all, success means money and status. This is something you probably heard from a young kid all the way up to even now. Like, everybody talks about that. Everybody wants money. Everybody wants status. Everybody's striving for these things. That's not necessarily what success is. Like, sure, I'm sure they're nice, but that's not what success is. Success to me is going to be different than what it is to you. Again, that aligns with what your true self is. You have your own definition of success. To me, it's just living a happy life with freedom. I have location freedom, and money's part of it too, but I don't need like an overwhelming amount. I just want enough to where I can afford the things that I need and be able to, not be tied down to one position. So hopefully some kind of online income. Now, an example of somebody who's been conditioned this way is somebody who would chase a job strictly because that's what they were told making it looks like. Making it. They were told that if they have this good paying job, even if they hate it, they're making enough money, they've made it because, they got this status now, they got this cool job, so now they're successful. But in reality, me and you both know they hate their job, they hate their life, so they're not. How are you successful just because you have money and status if you hate your life, right? If you hate your life, you're not successful. Let's just keep it serious. Like, there's literally no possible chance you're successful if you're just miserable every day. Another example, and this is one that I was very guilty of for a while, and still every now and then I'll fall into the beliefs of it just because I've been conditioned so much, but it's being busy equals being valuable. There's so many people who feel guilty for having a lazy day, just hanging out one day because they feel like they need to be grinding or hustling towards something and be having like a very productive day every single day, where even though in their own nature, they might thrive by having a restful day every now and then. That's how I am. I'm not somebody who wants to be lazy every single day, but having a day where I just chill, unwind for one day, like maybe like every 2 weeks or so, or maybe even every week, where I can just recoup, get my thoughts together, just hang out, chill, recover my body because I'm so active. Things like that are part of my nature. I like to hang out some days rather than just being productive. But also at the same time, that grind, that being productive, trying to improve myself is also a very big part of my own nature and things that I like to do. So I got to find the balance there. Whereas before, and again, every now and then still, whenever I'm having one of those lazy days, I'll be in my head like, man, I'm a loser. Why am I just sitting here all day? I gotta be doing something rather than just sitting here. And it'll make me really get in my head because we're just conditioned that way. So there's a good chance that you do the same thing. And the big thing with these social conditioning is that you can break them. It just takes a lot of work because it's been programmed into you for so long. One more big one, and this is very good for my channel, which is where I make a lot of social skills videos, is talking a lot equals being confident. On the outside looking in, that might seem true, but you don't have to talk a lot to be confident. You can pick out somebody who's just sitting very still, good body language, and you can tell they're confident just from their body language. It doesn't matter if they're talking a lot. There's some quiet people who feel like they need to be more outgoing to be accepted, which, I mean, it's stupid to think that way. And again, I used to think the same way. Even though now I have trained myself to be more outgoing, but that's actually part of my nature. I just didn't know how to do it properly. That's why it's good to know how to be on both ends of the spectrum. That way you know where you actually stay at, what actually aligns with yourself. But if you never learn, you'll never know where you actually belong. So you're just going to kind of be fumbling along. So that same quiet person might be more powerful in that stillness or just listening than they would be if they're just nonstop talking, which could be a lot of people, like a lot of people, more than you would think. There's so many more different ways that you've probably been socially conditioned. So the thing with these is that you accepted them unquestioningly. So that's the main change that will really have a huge impact on you, is starting to question them. Whenever you hear something that just doesn't sound like, it's like you blindly accept it, instead start thinking like, do I actually believe that, or am I just believing that because this person said that? Because I hear everybody say it. That's just following the sheep. You're tagging along because everybody else is doing it. That's not what you want to be doing. That's not how you reach your peak potential and find your true self. You have to form your own beliefs, rational beliefs. It can't be irrational. I mean, it can be, but it's not smart. But rational beliefs, and maybe get some input from a close friend who you find trustworthy, but actually think about it. Don't just accept it. Now, next up is expectations. Now, this is just imposed roles or life paths that others expect you to fulfill. This was something that really hindered me a lot whenever I was younger. High school through college, really, that was the main area where expectations really got the best of me. I was trying to live to everybody's, and it really held me back from doing the things that I wanted to be doing and got me a later start on achieving the things that I want to be achieving. And I was just simply living for other people, basically. And that's what expectations will do. You're not living for yourself, you're living for other people. And that's one of the biggest ways to get off of your own path and doing things you want to be doing and finding fulfillment in your own life. At least in my opinion, because that's the main one that I went through. Now, the first one, the biggest one that everybody hears, is about college. Oh, you should be a doctor, a lawyer, go to school. This is really common with families, like your parents, your relatives. They're probably going to be pushing you to go to school, go to college, get a degree. Now, if you actually want to be in one of those fields where a degree is necessary or it would help a lot, sure, do it. But do it because you want to be doing it. You want to be a doctor. You're not just doing it because your prestigious family, your dad, your mom wants you to go do it and become it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. That's the expectations they are putting onto you. And I fell into that. It wasn't any specific job category. I was just always told from a young kid, you got to go to college to be successful. You have to go to school. You have to go to college after high school. It was just program. I had these expectations to me whenever I was younger. So I went. I did the whole 4 years. That whole 4 years, I was really good in school. Early on, I was always really good in school. I was in a business degree. I was getting a business administration degree. And the whole 4 years, I did it. I didn't work at all. I was just working out, going to the gym, and going to school. That's all I was doing. I wasn't I had a normal job, but I wasn't working towards any big goal like I am now with YouTube, with trying to start a business, things like this. I wasn't doing these things even though I already wanted to. I just was trying to hold that weight of those expectations on my shoulder and make it happen. So that whole 4 years, again, like I said, I was really good in school. So a lot of times I would just skip class. I wouldn't even go to learn. I would skip class, show up for the test, make good grades, do my homework, make good grades. That's all I would do. I wouldn't even go to the lectures. So I would just, do my thing, pass, got my degree, never touched it, never used it, have not once used it. So that's an example of expectations and how they can hinder your life and especially set you back. That was a big thing for me, was setbacks. Another one is that you need to be the responsible one. If you're in a family of multiple kids and maybe you're the oldest, you're expected to be the most responsible for all of them, everything. So maybe you have to take care of the mom whenever they get older. Maybe you have to, help raise the kids. It's expectations. Sure, it's nice. It might be good to do it every now and then to help them if it's in your nature. But if it's not in your nature, don't do it. The expectations were set on you. You didn't choose this. So again, that's not in line with your own self. Another one, and the biggest one, I think everybody should think about this on their own and not let society put this on them, is that you have to settle down by 30 or whatever the age, right? That people expect you to be married, have kids, have a good career by 30. That's the biggest expectation that I think you should just fully disregard. Sure, at a young age, you have so much ambition. You want to do all these things, right? You have all this stuff you want to achieve, but it's not an end-all be-all. If you get to 30 and you haven't done these things, you don't have to force yourself to hurry up and get it done. You don't have to, I gotta marry the first girl I see. That's marrying out of scarcity. You're not gonna have a good relationship. You're picking somebody and marrying them just because you feel that weight of expectations, I got to get married by 30. Let me just pick the first person I see. That's just pure scarcity. My parents did that. They were married for maybe 2 years. They had me and my brother divorced because they felt they were, this is my assumption, but they felt like they were getting too old. They needed to find somebody now. And first person they saw, they got married. I'm sure they were interested in each other, but it was forced interest because they felt like they had to. And it didn't go well. They weren't a good match. And then here we are. They divorced whenever I was 1. So, it was obviously wasn't going to work out. It's a cultural timeline that's kind of just been set from just whoever. You don't even know who. You just accepted it because you were told it's normal, just from whoever, that this is when you should hit this milestone. Instead of just accepting that your timeline's probably going to be different. The rhythm of your own life is different from the rhythm of my life. We're all going to have different times where we do these things. Somebody might have had sex for the first time when they were 11, but I didn't until I was 18. So it's everybody does things differently. It's not going to be very close on the timeline. I could be 50 when I get married, but it's whenever I do it. You know what I mean? Now the last one, this is a big one for my channel, would be social identities. So a lot of the time, we'll pick up on certain social roles and things that we identify with because it helps us cope. It helps us not be vulnerable. It helps us with a bunch of different things, right? A good example of this is the funny guy. He uses humor to be vulnerable, but he doesn't know who he is under all the jokes. People love him for it. They think he's hilarious. That's why they love him, but he doesn't know who he is behind the jokes. He's always joking. He's never vulnerable. He never has deep conversations. People don't know him below that level of just, he's funny. People like him for that reason, so he sticks to it. Another one is the achiever. This is one that I kind of fell into, and it's someone who's always gotten praise for performance. They have a lot expected of them, and they feel like they have to make up for it. So now they don't know how to stop working because rest feels like failure. They feel like they're not working towards anything, and they feel like they're failing. I feel like a lot of people fall in this category. They don't know how to have lazy days, especially in today's culture with the whole hustle culture and all that. People feel like they have to constantly be doing something. And lastly is the loner. This is another one that I feel like I personally fell into a lot back in the day. Not so bad as much at all, but back in the day, it was really bad for me. They tell themselves they prefer to be alone, but deep down, they've been hurt too many times to risk forming a connection again, or they're just scared of rejection. That's the biggest cope that somebody will form with an identity. That's I'm just a loner. I like being alone. Some people really are like that, but majority of the time it's a cope because they're scared that things aren't going to work out. They're going to get hurt again, or they're just scared of the process, and that's a big one. Now, all those things that I just explained, obviously there's more in those different roles. Like there's more social identities, there's more expectations, there's more social conformities. These are just some examples, right? So to get into the meat of the video, Wu is basically just trusting your spontaneous, intuitive responses rather than forcing actions that feel misaligned with who you actually are. You're just trusting your own nature and who you are rather than trying to actually find out who you are. You're just letting it happen. A good way to think about this is think about like dust on a mirror. It's not necessarily like evil or a bad thing. It's just obscuring. Finding yourself isn't about adding more to yourself. It's about letting go of the things that aren't actually you, because there's been so many things that you've put onto yourself, other people have put onto you that aren't you. So you have to peel back those things and then you uncover who you actually are. Sure, you're going to find things that you enjoy and that are part of you. Like for me, it was jiu-jitsu. I didn't find jiu-jitsu until I was 23, but that was something that was already in line with my nature. I just hadn't found it yet. So it was already there. I just had to get to it. That makes sense. So you're not adding more. You're letting go of everything that isn't you. Now, I'm going to get into some practical applications, like ways to actually do this in your own life. First of all, and this is probably a big one for all of you. Everybody watch this is probably something that you do, especially if you're more on the anxious side. If you're already pretty confident, it's not you, but if you're more on the anxious side, stop over planning or over analyzing every single move. Instead, start trying to be more present, more aware, and start responding to life rather than trying to control it. Just let it happen. This will help you trust your ability to adapt in the moment. And to me, that's one of the main pillars of masculinity, in my opinion. That's like one of the main things of being a man. So if you can start adapting to that, you're going to feel better about being yourself. And masculinity is not only for men. Feminine people, or women, can be more masculine as well. It's just a masculine trait, in my opinion. It's one of the main things. So if you have that trait, it's a very good trait. So I'll give you a couple ways to put this into your own life. First of all is through daily decision making. So instead of sitting there tormenting yourself like, God, what do I do first? I have so much shit to do. Instead of sitting there thinking that way, pick the one that feels the most natural to you, the most energizing, the one that would make you want to actually get up and do it, and go from there. Let it lead to the next. And that's just trusting yourself. And you're going to build momentum through the process, and it's going to lead to you doing the rest. Just by picking the one that most aligned with you, you're going to get the rest done. Another example is for dating or friendships. If someone doesn't text you back and you're freaking out, you're like, oh my God, I got ghosted again. You've been ghosted so many times, right? I got ghosted again. This conversation sucks. This person's not interesting. Instead of overanalyzing why they went stale and sitting there freaking out about it, wondering why, and spiraling into that overanalysis, respond to what is happening, not what you wish was happening. With that, you're moving more fluidly and not forcefully, and you're going to just come off better. Just accept what's happening. Don't try to force it. Just let it happen, and you're going to feel so much better about yourself. Shit, and the other person's gonna respect you more as well. And if they don't, they're out of your life. So who cares? Like, you don't need to keep on trying to force it. And if it's a good connection, they were just doing something, then you've kept yourself from freaking out and just getting all stressed out. Another practical application, this one will help so many people. It helped me a ton whenever I was trying to be more social. Just learning how to speak to people, meet new people, and it's really helps a lot in social situations. But instead of trying to say the right thing, instead just be present and listen to them. Let your words come naturally. This was something that I used to do all the time whenever I was probably early college, early high school, actually all of college and throughout high school. While I was talking to somebody in my head, I'm not even listening to this person, right? In my head, I'm like, oh man, what do I say next? I want to keep this conversation going. I don't want it to become awkward. What do I say next to this person so they like me and want to speak to me again? I'm just sitting there. Every conversation, I'm doing that shit. And it drove me crazy. Like it was hindering me so bad I didn't even realize it. And then sometimes I would even rehearse my lines beforehand. Like, oh, if I want to go talk to this girl over here, let me rehearse what I'm gonna say to her before I go over there. Instead of just going over there and speaking, I'm sitting there, it's like, oh, like I'm fucking nerding out, like just full nerd mode. Like, oh, what do I say to this girl? Let me look up some pickup lines. Like I'm doing all this random shit instead of just going to speak to them. Trust that the right thing to say will come from your presence, and I promise you it will. Just being present, listening, and saying whatever you feel like saying is going to make the conversation so much better. So some examples of this. First of all, when meeting somebody new, instead of sitting there planning out the perfect introduction or joke, simply notice them. Make eye contact, maybe smile, and let your curiosity guide your questions. That's the biggest. Be curious. It's going to make it so much easier. You'll be surprised how natural conversation becomes whenever you do these things. With dating or flirting, don't try to impress the person. You're being somebody you're not. Just observe the moment. She says something interesting, be curious, respond honestly. And if you're not sure what to say, a smile or even silence is more powerful than a forced line. Like if you can sit in your silence comfortably, think about what you're going to say. At that time, it's okay to think because, the conversation died out, think about what you want to say next, and then say it. Don't filter it out, say it. And doing those things are going to make you be more genuine and be more true to yourself. You're in Wu-Wei at that point. And then the last practical application is through work and creativity. I know I've made a lot of productivity videos in the past, but this is kind of different. Don't force productivity. This is something that I've been doing more recently, and it's to structure your environment and your energy so the flow happens more naturally. Kind of similar to the flow state and like modern psychology, being in that flow state. That's what's really going to make you be the most productive and have the best work also. So with creative work, like these videos, for example, or actually create like writing, things like that, instead of waiting for inspiration or forcing ideas, build a routine that invites the flow. Same time of day, familiar space, calm energy. Maybe you have a routine for coffee. Whatever the thing is for you, build this routine that makes it to where you set into it. You feel like you need to be doing that thing. You're going to want to be doing it because it's part of that routine. Let the ideas come as a response to that rhythm you've built. And this goes really well with hobbies too. Like that's how I really got into the habit of going to the gym, was just making it routine, something that I already did, and it became a habit because like, okay, this time of day I go to the gym every single day, and it makes it to where you want to be doing it because it's part of your day. Now with work projects or studying, don't push through mental fatigue, because that's going to make it even worse. If you get to that breaking point, take a break, and actually doing this, taking that break, makes your mental fatigue stronger, and you won't fatigue as quickly in the future. It's a very cool little psychology trick. But when you feel stuck, step away, breathe, maybe go do something real quick, move your body a little bit, and then often the solution will come just naturally because you're not forcing it. And a very good one, this one's for like to-do lists. Instead of a rigid schedule, like, oh, I have to follow this, make like a priority pool. Work on what feels aligned with your energy in that moment, and then let your intelligence decide the rest. You go from there, build it, like still have the to-do list, right? But don't make like an order for it. Do what feels right to be doing. And my final tip for you for all of this is that stillness is key with all of it. Stillness. Stillness to me is the most masculine trait. Like it's peak masculinity. To me, like just the energy of masculinity and femininity. Masculinity is stillness. Femininity is chaos. And I'll get into that like a video in the future. But Wu-Wei does not mean doing nothing. It means acting from a clear, undisturbed space inside of you, acting on intuition, the things that you want to be doing, genuinely want to be doing naturally. And to me, that is peak masculinity in a very good way. Like you're just living, doing what comes natural. The more you can naturally pause, breathe, see things as they are, the more naturally your next move that you actually want to be doing will arise. So, got any value from this video? Appreciate it if you would subscribe. This was a fun one to make, so I hope you enjoyed it. Besides that, see you in the next one.